got the Oxymorrons in the house. What's up? So first thing I gotta say is right before you moved the camera, I noticed your office style "It is your birthday" sign in the background. I've seen that show more. It was like my go to sleep show for a long time. So I've seen like
it was a blessing in disguise for them to take it off Netflix because once you get through like run through 8, you gotta maybe take
yeah, we got to move on to something else. I actually saw someone on Twitter was like, oh, you can buy the whole season though on iTunes for like $30 or something, and I was like, oh, cool, I'll just maybe do that. But then I think as soon as the word got out, they jacked the price up, and now it's like $100 or something like that. So I'm like, oh no, should have done it.
You get like everything on Amazon though, but no one wants a hard disk anymore, right? I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't even have a DVD player like on my TV. But digressions aside, Oxymorrons, I'm stoked to talk to you guys. I've been bumping the stuff and bobbing my head, and so I'm excited to hear the story. So for those listening, there's all 4 of you are here. So maybe just introduce yourselves, and then we can jump into it.
I'm D.
I'm Ki.
Maddie.
Jaffe. Play the strings.
Yeah. So I know you guys just dropped a new single, Green Vision. I was just playing it and bobbing my head to it. But before we talk about that, you guys want to just take us all the way back and let us know how, maybe even before Oxymoron started, just how you got into music in the first place?
I guess we could talk.
Yeah.
Really differently.
Yeah, we're just hanging out.
A lot of people don't know. If you do know, then you know about me and D are brothers.
Yeah.
Growing up in our household, there's all different types of music, from like Lionel Richie to my other brother like playing Biggie Smalls, whatever. So for me, I just listened to I watched a lot of MTV. So I picked up all the music videos and just like listening to like anime intros. I'm a nerd. And I think all that stuff just kind of inspired me in a sense to just write music. Even like cartoon theme songs, it's like a big hook. It's like it's all it is. That's why I view it. And so for me, seeing that and being in my neighborhood, which is predominantly a lot of dudes over there do hip hop, but for us, we felt like we could always switch things up, or just always want to do something different. That's what we wanted to do.
Right. So, do you have any particular cartoons from back in the day that you think of and you're like, yeah, that had a rad intro?
Well, as a kid, I used to I had like a hidden talent where I remember like all the cartoon theme songs like in my brain.
Yeah.
Like everything you could think of, I was like, it was like, shoot, and I would just sing it. It was weird. But they all were good. Even like, if you look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme song, it was a bridge into a big hook.
Yeah.
The bridge was there just like to say all the characters like Michelangelo's cool. But,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because normally people who write theme songs are really good
great musicians,
and composers.
Yeah.
They write music really, really well. You just don't think about that while you're watching the show. Because even like for me in general, even though we grew up in the same household, we did do a lot of the same stuff. And for me in general, it was always like sitcom themed like music. Like that was big for me. And I'm also like a huge Billy Joel fan, and I like Queen is my favorite band because I just like the chord progressions and how like Freddie's such a wild dude. And so it was like all of that stuff growing up, and then on the other side there was always hip hop prevalent right in our faces. So like we always wanted to like blend, and I have to give it to my older brother, was he used to instill in us and drive it home that your music needs to be different. Like you have to sound different. Like sounding different was like this rule drilled into our heads. So it's like, so we can't make anything that's cookie cutter or similar to something else, or like identical or something.
Yeah, like if you was like rap someone else's flow, like nah, like you're like bro, you can't do that.
Can't do that.
So you can find your own
make your own flow. So when it came to making music, we just had the ability to be like, hey, let's switch it up. So growing up, that was always it. And then bands like NERD, like that changed the game.
Changed my life.
We were able to see that the weird, wacky shit that we're doing can work.
It's funny. A few things there, because just recently, past couple of years, every now and then I'll get like this like this thought of nostalgia in my head, and I'll go on YouTube and I'll look up like an old cartoon intro or like an old sitcom intro, and they're still fire and they're great. Like you said, those were pros, and they had to write a song that would be heard over and over and over and still be good, and also just make you want to watch it if it was your first time seeing it.
Pop music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
A song that you can replay nonstop. It's recognizable to the ear so quickly.
Earworms.
And yeah. Earworms.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
day. Earworms all day. Yep.
Yeah.
For me, when I was in high school, what kind of like made me realize it was my music teacher. He was the guy that made the NBA ESPN music.
Oh wow, wow, that's huge.
And I was just like joking around. He was like, "Yo, like you wrote that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Yo, dude, you have something. Like you could write." And I was like, "Cool, I'm definitely gonna go towards it." But then I found out as he explained to me more and more that not everyone write their music, and I was like, "Oh shit, I didn't know that."
I grew up around I come from a family of musicians. I grew up playing a lot more Afro-Caribbean spiritual and ancestral music. So
wow.
like, music of the slaves of the island. And so I grew up playing a lot of drums and percussion. And my dad was a reggae artist too. So it was like a mix of reggae and roots music. And then in high school I met some more white people, and I got put on the punk music.
Uh-huh.
And then I was just like, I mean, if the Clash can do it, I could do it.
Yeah.
So I started teaching myself guitar, and just kind of kept going. And you know, as I got older and older, and more stuff I listened to, just absorbed it more. And that's kind of like, at its essence, it's what being from New York City kind of does to you.
Totally.
Kind of New York's the city kid mold. Is a melting pot, or the prototype is someone that is really eclectic. Usually, we eat a lot of different foods here, authentic food, authentic language. So much of it, and so our music is just another, you know, an extension of that, and our music taste and our environment.
Yeah, you know, like you said,
not so complex, but I grew up in a very religious household. I was only allowed to listen to Christian music growing up.
Wow, yeah.
Because there was no lyrics for the most part. But what it did give me a good opportunity to do is when I started playing for the church when I was younger, I was playing in front of like 200 to 400 people a week starting in the 8th grade. So it was a good, nice little test to playing in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
But for the most part, then I found out that there was, I bought Take Off Your Pants and Jacket by Blink-182 and kept it secret from my mom.
Yeah.
And Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park and
Oh my
Slim
God.
Shady LP. And then
Yeah.
just me by myself in my room making sure no one was around.
Yeah. It's like,
you know, the moment I hit kind of towards the middle of high school, it was all hair to the side and skinny jeans and whatever whiny, screamy thing I can get my hands on, and not much has changed.
yeah. So you guys, I mean, aside from having an eclectic background within each one of yourselves individually, like eclectic backgrounds, like all around kind of, so it's a pretty rad combo. But yeah, it's interesting because I interview a lot of people, and there's a lot of artists who started just like growing up singing religious music, and it seems like the church, like you said, it's like a really great rehearsal area, because not a lot of people outside the church who aren't successful musicians have a place they can regularly go in front of a large audience to kind of, you know, actually work out your jitters and all that.
We'll give them that credit for sure.
Yeah. But it's funny that you describe it. You're like in the, you know, some people cover their computer when when the parents come in when you're a teenager in your room, but you're like covering your CD labels, you know, like especially the Blink, you know, I know the Blink titles that would probably not go over well. But yeah, you mentioned Queen earlier, and I definitely recognized Justice, your single banger. You guys did a little homage to Queen there, and I noticed kind of multiple album covers are kind of homages to some other, some classic artists. So what was the inspiration behind that? Was there a thought behind that? Is that just kind of paying homage to the people that you like?
No, it was more so a little bit of both. A somewhat paying homage, but for the most part, it was just so we came up with the concept so that we could put black faces into rock spaces, and like it's disproportionately
Specifically white bands.
Yes.
With ours.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool. Yeah,
intentional in a way of like, hey guys, pay attention. we took some of the most iconic covers, the ones that we actually like. We love those covers. Those really
Right.
And we would know it would not only be recognizable, but it also would be a little jarring to see it differently. And so far, it's been working. It works exactly what we want it to work.
That's rad. That's like a whole other level, a whole other layer to that. To just like, hey, yeah. And the other one, Green Vision, you just dropped, of course. Instead of a white baby in the pool, we see a black baby, and it's a Nirvana, spin off there.
Yeah, that's just the thing that we're
gonna stick to that. And
so you guys link up and tell us a little bit about like the early days, how you kind of got the ball rolling, because you guys are killing it now. Spotify's loving you. You're on Rise Up and Rock Hard and New Noise and just a bunch of playlists on Spotify, and you guys are putting out a bunch of music. But tell us a little bit how you got there, how you got here.
That's a long ass story that we don't probably have time for.
Condensed
version.
Yeah. Highlights.
The whole version was just kind of me and my brother. We for a long time we kind of strayed away from making music together collectively, and it wasn't because we hated each other. We're actually extremely close, and it was just more so like, hey, and people would point it out. People would say, hey, you guys, whenever we did do anything together, they'd be like, there's something there. There's something there. So we decided one day to start the Oxys, and it was really started in a basement with some remote controls, just kind of like figuring out like what we wanted to do and how we wanted to sonically sound. And as time went by, getting into Maddie, we met Maddie. Oh, that's actually a really good story.
Yeah, no, it's almost like pieces of the puzzle just kind of came together over time. I was actually an intern for the management firm that they were under when they started, and I was like, doing write-ups and getting, on my boss cigarettes and whatever else I had to as an intern. And then they actually assigned me to help them out one day, just like kind of do day-to-day stuff for a moment. And then a couple days later, they were like, yo, our drummer that usually plays for us is out of commission. Does anyone here play drums? And I kind of just raised my hand.
Awesome.
These assholes made me learn 8 songs in 2 days.
I was an asshole.
I said so. No.
You raised your hand. We wouldn't have known.
Right. And then and then after that, that was it. And then I wasn't an intern anymore.
Yeah.
That's
your job.
And job.
So did you quit? Did you quit basically the job you're working at? You're like, I'm working with these guys now. Now you work for me. Your boss, you're like, you work for me now.
That's
not an awkward conversation to have.
I never thought about that. And now guess what? I need these things.
Yeah, exactly. I don't get the coffee. You get the coffee now.
And Jaffe is a really cool thing because a friend of mine sent me a video of him playing. And it was so dope, and we're just, and those are the kind of guys we are. Like, if you're dope, you're just dope, and we applaud it. And we were looking at the time that like as guitarists, and we were looking to do things, and we just sat and had coffee, and I realized that it was way more than just music playing that we all had. And
I've been playing music in the New York like underground rock punk scene for a good like 13 years now. I started at like 16, 17. And I was just we were just kind of all on the same mission, just, on different paths.
Yeah.
Once we met up, I was more just like, holy shit, I can join the Justice League. Instead of trying to like put all of New York on my back as a person of color in a very white space, like I can just, play to my strengths and contribute to something, as opposed to, I was leading a lot of bands, and it was just like drying my pockets and my sanity. So
the best way to put it, we got Black Panther.
Yeah.
Because the original version did not have Black Panther. So
we got Black Panther. We figured it all out, and here it is. And the Cliff Notes version.
And the paths met up, and the mission just, it just got like the vision got more obvious, and
vision got green.
And vision got green as it goes. Our sound collectively has been like meaning and yearning to evolve to this kind of heavier sound comparatively to the old shit. We've all been naturally there on our own and together, so we're just finally like here. We have finally fully arrived, it sort of feels like.
Right, right. Yeah, I love that you describe yourselves the metaphor as the Justice League, because you guys were all doing your own thing, and like I said, you guys all kind of had like these different strengths or these different like different origin stories, as we could put it. and I love that you mentioned the Clash earlier, because you said you came from kind of like an island background as far as music goes, but you also liked rock, and the Clash, of course, like punk rockers who definitely had that ska influence. Is that part of the reason why you liked them?
No, they were doing, playing Police and covering Police and Thieves, and some really OG reggae songs, and I was like, is this messy, sloppy white boy shit? It's not, it's so good. Like the attitude, just the overall punk aesthetic and attitude was what came a lot later to me well, not later, but as a teenager, where I could also sort of form my own opinion about it, as opposed to it being like a part of my childhood. And it was very like drawn to it. And I had always been a rhythm player. I had never played guitar. So to be able to express myself now with like notes, it was scary. But again, if like Joe Strummer could do it, I can definitely do it. And then, 10 years later, I got good.
Well, that's what I have always liked about punk rock. I feel like, especially if you're a kid and you hear punk rock and you like look up the chords and you're like, wait, I could do this, I could play music, like someone I really love too. So that's
the importance of what we're doing as back to your point, as people of color in the white rock space, is just to encourage and let other people that look like us or that don't, that just are other in this world, that they can do it too.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like, you're right. It gets so separated sometimes, but more than ever, I do feel like genres are being blended more than ever. But even if you go like all the way back to like Run DMC, it was like they had kind of like a rock feel every now and then in their delivery, and then they linked up with like Aerosmith and that. So I mean, even like hip hop mixing with rock goes all the way back. And I know you mentioned you got your fans of Linkin Park also, and so there's
of course, man.
where do you guys feel like what made you more passionate about rock than what made you want to go more in that direction? Because the hip hop is definitely in there, but what do you think it was about rock, besides what we just talked about, maybe the Clash, that really attracted you to rock and roll?
It wasn't really an attraction to rock and roll, it's attraction to sound. We we categorize music in these boxes. That's the business of music. That's
right.
What it's sold.
Right.
It's sonics. It's all frequency. So when frequency speaks to you, it has nothing to do with the box. That is how it's labeled. So it was like, oh, that guitar sounds amazing to me. And what if I do this with that? And what if we can, because the box is what makes us Oxys. Is our whole point is if it sounds good, it feels good, it is good. Yeah. All those other rules are bullshit, like legit bullshit. Because we've had engineers who says, because even how we blend rock and rap together, you might have not even realized it, but the low end on Green Vision is 808. Mm-hmm. Most engineers would strip that. We say no. For what? That's what's making it the way it's hitting.
Yeah.
The essence of punk and rock music in itself. All these, the rebellious essence of it all kind of just drew us to it. So it's like we lean towards rock because that's what we felt. It was just, the feeling was just there. So it's like, and it just got bigger and it got bigger and it got bigger. And then we're just like, okay, this is who we are. And you understand that, but we dabble in almost everything.
Yeah, it's not like we're picking one genre over the other.
Exactly.
Sure.
We're just making the music that we want to make. And if you say it's more rock, cool. If you say it's more hip hop, that's also fine.
Yeah.
And in the live space, it's always more fun to play with your voice when like I like hip hop artists where it's me and a DJ, and like I get bored eventually.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, just nothing like plugging in a guitar and hearing some drums and
feeding off the energy.
Yeah, and I feel like it must be liberating because, like you said, if people feel like they're in a particular genre, they may say, "Oh, well, that sounds great. I love that," but it's not what where I am in the marketplace. So let's take out those 808s. You know what I mean? And we'll do. Someone can do a remix or something like that after.
What we always say is this: do you only eat chicken?
Yeah, that's great.
Eat a lot of other foods.
So take in other music.
Take in other music.
Try it.
Why limit your life in that way? Why limit yourself to these boxes that they put music in when it's supposed to be free expression?
Exactly.
Really express yourself and don't limit it. It doesn't matter. And I'm glad that now it's being way more acceptable to be different, because what was once our Achilles heel is now our biggest strength.
Yeah, you know, it's again, it goes so much farther than genre. It's just about how song structure is, like what you consider a pop song, what the correct amount of time is for a record. You know what I mean? Like these are all standards that have just come about over the past 20 years. But you used to listen to radio back then, and you listen to like a 13-minute Led Zeppelin song, and that was pop for people. You know what I mean? You know, and now we're
trained.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's because we're being marketed to. Really, that's what it is.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Green Vision, because that's your new single, just came out this year. It's a banger. So tell us what's the origin story of that?
Yeah, Green Vision. Well, like a lot of our songs, it started off as a demo. And what we did was we started off with one song. We made a demo of a song, which was called Vision. And then from that, we took the best part of Vision and made another song out of it. And then that wasn't even the Green Vision you guys know now. And then we revamped that version, and then that Green Vision. And then that version, we revamped it again. Now we have arrived. Now that was the Green Vision.
It's just like taking our demos, and then once we're like, okay, this is a demo, what are the coolest parts of this demo? And then that's a part for the next time that we revamp it, and now what are the coolest parts of this part? So it's just an evolution. We do that with the majority of our songs, to be honest with you.
The only reason we didn't do that with was Justice. That just kind of came.
Yeah. That's cool. I heard a comedian once say that he would take the weakest part of his set and he would put it at the end, so it would have to be his closer, and then it would make him. He would have to hone that joke to make it a closing joke, and then he would just kind of recycle that cycle until his whole set was closing jokes. So it sounds like you guys are doing kind of something similar with your demos.
Process. And it's kind of like the challenge of it as songwriters that makes it exciting and pushes you, because it's so easy to get married to ideas and melodies, and
right.
So you're like, no, I'm not letting it go, and then just being like, you're outvoted, dog. Let it go. You know, it's just that it's so necessary though, and it's actually like beautiful to cleanse songs and ideas that way, and it's humbling to just be like, not all my ideas are the shit.
Right.
And just pick it apart so you actually get to the shit.
And even if it is good, sometimes it's best to be like, maybe that goes somewhere later. I don't know. If it doesn't fit for what's going on, it's cool.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. You got the crate of the stuff that didn't quite work over there, but maybe it works today.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the willingness to kind of empty your cup and start again is huge. So you guys are so right about that. So Green Vision, is that are you guys, because you guys have been putting out singles and they're all rocking, are you guys, do you have like an EP in mind, an LP coming out soon? What are you thinking?
We got an LP coming later this year. We won't spill those beans yet. But
okay.
It's fucking fire.
I won't spill the beans, but it's fire.
It's fire. We if y'all love Green Vision, and just think that it's just a taste. It's a taste.
Yeah.
It's right.
Yeah. So it's one of the seasonings we should expect on the auditory taste of the LP.
So there's an LP. Yes.
Hell yeah. So do you guys, besides that, since things are kind of limited as far as what artists can do right now in a live setting, are you guys focusing on other things besides the LP? Are you writing more? Are you completing the LP? Is that mostly what you have planned?
Honestly, LP is done. We've been writing for a new record for a good amount of quarantine and just the pandemic in general.
Yeah, LP2 is being written right now.
Yeah. Nice. Wow.
So that the quarantine gave us a chance to kind of like focus on that and kind of stockpile. And one of the things that I love about all of us, we just like, writer's block is not really a thing. We tend to like, if one person, because I feel like writer's block comes from a vibe, and if one of us is out of a vibe, the other one picks it up, right? And then now that puts you now in the vibe. So we're each other's vibes.
We all write collectively. Too.
It's
just very collective process.
It's awesome. So
that's so true, and it's awesome you recognize that, and you guys you have the antidote for it. That's cool.
It takes the pressure off of just one person.
So I would love to hear from you guys individually, because I feel like you come from different backgrounds, and like you said, you guys all have your own perspective. So thanks again for joining us. It was a blast talking to you guys. But we like to cap off the interview by asking, if you had one piece of advice to offer aspiring artists, what would it be?
I'll start.
Oh, good.
Don't be afraid to continuously make mistakes all the time. Like, I think that, like, especially during, like, I've been getting heavy into, you know, the production side of things a lot during, like, the pandemic and stuff like that. And I can't tell you how many garbage beats and garbage drum parts I've written over time. But, you know, you just keep working at it and, like, putting your head down and treating it like a job. Like, hey, listen, I'm going to keep at this and keep getting better and keep watching YouTube videos and keep listening to music until I find my voice, you know, until I find the way that I write and find the way that I make music. That's my thing. Yeah,
they say fail more to get to success, you know, increase your rate of failure in order to speed up the process.
I guess the advice I would give is something that it piggybacks off of you pretty much, but something different from a, I guess, mental and a spiritual standpoint is to always believe and like have that vision of where you want to be in your head and just move forward, like design a clear straight path and just follow that path and just and constantly. I know there's gonna be BS, especially during the music scene, man. It's like so much shit you gotta like battle each and every single day. But if you know you're going to win, no matter how many years you're dealing with it, just keep going forward. Don't slow up. And just positive energy, positive mind state, and that's a big key. I feel like a lot of people talk about, like, work on your craft, but work on your mind. Work on your mind.
100%, for sure. Most important.
I would say, and it's funny how we all kind of just like similar. It's Rob. I just know what it is. For Oxy, it's always going to be similar. I would just say visualize the win. I'm a Buddhist and I'm a big believer in that, and understanding and manifestation. If you see it, you could be it. So there's no dream that's too big. It's just your level of ambition and your willingness to overcome suffering will get you to where you want to go. And that mountaintop, on that path, it may not look and feel like what you think it is, but it will be what you want it to be.
Yes.
And luck doesn't exist. You made that shit happen.
Yeah, make your own luck, for sure.
I mean, it really is. Treat it like a job. If you feel that shit in your bones like that, like there's nothing. I mean, I thought I was nice 5 years ago, but now I'm not. Now I'm not. I say it with my chest now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been working at this for 15, 16 years, and I've failed the entire time along the way. But you know, you can prevail if you just like put your head down and work every day for it. And then just be true to who you are and where you're from. Absolutely. You know, originality, the root word of that is origin. So like know who you are, know where your parents, who your parents are, who your grandparents were. Be true to that and put people onto that, because that's what makes you who you are. Please do not try and be us or anybody else. Please do not. It's just annoying.
It's like C-Star.
It's enough already. Like we need more unique people. With platforms too, and creating platforms for themselves and their community. So
origin.
That's a really cool. I've never heard it framed that way, that originality comes from the word origin, and that you should think about that. I love that. I think because there's so many there's endlessly unique things about any individual, right? That you just have to kind of find those unique things about your past or whatever, or your parents' past, or whoever it might be, that you can delve into and kind of mine from.
And think about it. No two people ever in the existence of the world was the same. Not even two.
Yeah.
Wait. Don't think you can do it by yourself.
Hey,
that
is a really big point.
Look for your Justice League.
Build your team.
Oh my God. Find like-minded individuals who are on the same path that you were on.
Yeah. You're not
That's so important too. I feel like because you can get in that mindset nowadays because it's so easy. I got a computer. I can do it all in this studio, in this room, and I know myself the best, so I don't need anybody. And it's hard to trust people, or I don't want to show anyone anything until it's done because I want to keep it close and make sure I did it all, or whatever it might be. So I mean, a couple of you are brothers, but then how I guess you guys met at work, and then how do you think people can help break out of that mindset? What do you think they can do to help open them up, or co-write, or do whatever it might be to start working with other people?
Everything. Learn something from everyone.
Yeah. Humble yourself.
Don't be afraid. Honestly, don't be afraid to shoot your shot. If you think someone's cool, send them a DM. You know what I mean? It's like if you are on a like-minded path and you see somebody online or you meet in person, exchange numbers, get to talking. Like, no, like what's the worst that happens? Like, nah.
They say no.
Exactly. And then you just
you're
move on
still
over.
and that's part of what we were talking about earlier. Like they said no. Okay, don't stop looking for something what you're looking
Just
for.
move to the next.
The next person, there's gonna be that person who's gonna give you what you want.
Exactly. It's not gonna always be what you think it's gonna look like, but it will be. Guaranteed. That's one thing. There's no time. I can't tell you a date. I can't tell you any of that. But I can tell you this. The only way you fail is if you stop. Bringing it backwards.